guys, we're about to sum up the entire story of all the Fnaf games in just a few minutes, so let's get right into it. We start off with Five Nights at Freddy's 1, or as the professionals like to call it, and what you'll hear me call it for the rest of the video, Fnaf. This game isn't super plot heavy. The animatronics try to break into your office and get you, and the only way to stop them is by saving your power and shooting them with a shotgun when necessary. This game does, however, subtly reveal the important plot of Fnaf. The game subtly implies that Freddy and gang might be haunted. Look, yes, I know, it doesn't sound feasible. Animatronics? Haunted? What? But hear me out here. Take a look at this flyer that can be seen on the wall of Fnaf 1. If you look at the first letter of every line, you can notice that some of the letters are T, R, H, M, and D. What does this mean? Those are haunted mascots, dude. Yeah. Those bitches are haunted. There's also a really small chance that the elusive Golden Freddy will spawn in your office and crash your game instantly. This is because Scott Cauldron doesn't know how to code for shit. Throughout the game, we'll also occasionally see the words "It's me" pop up. This is a reference to Mario, because he's really cool. With this information, we can move on to the second game in the timeline, Fnaf 2. Now, I see a lot of people saying that Fnaf 2 is a prequel to Fnaf 1, and I have two things to say about that. First of all, it has the same animatronics from Fnaf 1, but they're more damaged and clearly worn out, and also more technologically advanced animatronics that weren't there in the first game. Second of all, it's literally called Fnaf 2. Are you stupid? Fnaf 2 is where the drama really starts to pick up. It introduces us to another important core character to the storyline, Rick Fsfa. Yes, that's his name. And no, I'm not calling him by the dumbass fandom name of Shadow Bonnie. Bonnie is blue, and this character is clearly not blue. I'm instead going to refer to him as Rick, based on the first three letters of his name. Rick is an important character because he introduces a new concept to the series. The concept that animatronics can be sick, twisted, and kinda fucked up. Pair this with the other new character we meet in Fnaf 2, and things start making sense. Let me introduce you to Indigo Guy. We're gonna refer to him as Indigo Guy for now because he doesn't get a solid name like Rikafasika does, and he's the color indigo, so it only makes sense. Fnaf 2 has several cutscenes that I wouldn't really recommend watching because the graphics kinda suck, but they do introduce us to the character of Indigo Guy, and the fact that he really likes running up to the animatronics and hugging them. Some might say, jump scaring them? Yeah, let that sink in. The entire time, the animatronics are only jump scaring us because it's what they've been taught by the Indigo Guy. Are the animatronics just trying to hug us? Possibly. It's hard to say. However, if they are, we can confirm that Rick is very evil because he is one of the only animatronics that will never jump scare you. He just kind of stands there, never offering a hug, which is totally evil and not cool. Even Golden Freddy will jump scare you in this one, and he doesn't even have a working body. So Rick really has no excuse here. Moving on to the next game in the series, Fnaf 3. Fnaf 3 is kind of a dumb one because there's only one animatronic in it, but I guess he is a really evil animatronic, so that kind of makes up for it. You can tell he's really evil because if you take this picture of him and turn the saturation up, he looks like really evil. Fnaf 3 has more minigames with those bad graphics like in Fnaf 2, and at this point I'm frankly getting a little annoyed. By the third game in the series, Fnaf had become wildly popular, and there was no reason for Scott Cauldron not to upgrade these dumbass graphics. Anyways, if you're making a super in-depth analysis like I am, you have to watch these minigames, I guess, but in doing so, I think I cracked the case of Fnaf lore wide open. So we see here in Fnaf 3 that the Indigo Man gets bullied by the animatronics into hiding into a yellow bunny suit, and then he spills what I can only assume is ketchup or spaghetti sauce from his soup. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if this happened to me, it would make me pretty sad. When I thought about this, it made me realize something. The Indigo Guy was in the bunny suit and has severe ketchup spilling trauma due to hug rejection. Who else do we know that is a bunny and doesn't like hugs? Yes, you're right. indigo guy is Rick. I have seen so many people try to say that the bunny that jump scares you in FNAF 3 is actually the indigo guy, but clearly that is just Bonnie who peed himself because he drank too much soda. As you can see in this image, Bonnie really likes soda, as well as the fact that the animatronic in FNAF 3 jump scares you, clearly trying to hug you, something that we know Rick would never do. Not anymore, at least. One more thing about FNAF 3. At the end of the game, the pizzeria that you're guarding burns to the ground, permanently killing off Bonnie as a character. Rest in piss, my favorite bunny boy. Now, what if I told you there's a secret FNAF game that takes place between FNAF 3 and 4? A FNAF game that is so obscure that not even some of the most hardcore FNAF fans know about it. That game is Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Scott really outdid himself with this one and really took care of the complaints everyone had about the graphics. He did what Scott does best, and he took the criticism and ran with it, making the bold move of turning FNAF into a first-person shooter and also removing all of the animatronics. I think a lot of people didn't like this game because I never see it mentioned when people talk about FNAF, almost like they either don't know it's a FNAF game or are just so elitist that they refuse to even talk about it for some reason. I'm here to speak my truth though, and Call of Duty Advanced Warfare has got to be my favorite FNAF game, purely because of the graphics. How are you gonna say that this is better than this? Yeah, no, you can't say that, sorry. In terms of lore though, there isn't too much to note here. However, you guys should be aware that this game heavily inspired the prequel to the FNAF movie, Saving Private Ryan. I know this because they both have guns in them. The next game in the series is Five Nights at Freddy's 4. This one's a bit controversial because for some reason many people claim this is the first game in the FNAF timeline. Now look, I get why some people think 2 is the first game in timeline-wise. I often get 1 and 2 mixed up when counting myself. It happens, okay? But 1 and 4? Those are like 7 numbers apart. FNAF 4 clearly does not take place before FNAF 1. Like, come on guys, it's obvious. But now that that's settled, we can finally talk about the lore. So basically, the lore of FNAF 4 is that the animatronics are really scary now and Freddy had babies. Why are they so scary now? Why did Freddy have babies? How did he reproduce? I couldn't tell you that. Because, you see, FNAF 4 had cutscenes that were very similar to FNAF 2 and 3 in the sense that the graphics fucking sucked, and I'm tired of it. If you're not going to put the effort into your game to make the graphics good, I'm not going to watch these stupid cutscenes, especially when I could be watching the Family Guy clips I had pulled up on my second monitor at all times, which is just objectively better than this Atari shit. Hey guys, just a quick editor's note, I found this really funny Family Guy clip that was playing while I was editing my video. Here, check it out.
She got lucky, because now she's dodged the bullet of being in a relationship with a loser like you. Well, you just think you know everything, don't you? You're like a black woman.
Hold on, he's loading.
In hindsight, I told you.
Okay. I don't really think the cutscenes were important though, because the plot of the game is essentially that the animatronics are scary. Also, it's worth noting that Bonnie is in this game, but we know that the original Bonnie died in FNAF 3. This leads me to believe that the Bonnie in this game is actually Rick, and he has made peace with his fellow animatronics and is now on hugging terms with them again, and that's why he is blue now. The lesson of FNAF 4 is that if we put in the work, our trauma can heal. Also, the animatronics are scary. Alright, so the next game in the timeline is going to be FNAF's sister location. But before we get to that, there's some stuff in the timeline that happened outside of the games between FNAF 4 and sister location. This information is revealed to us in the FNAF official cookbook. So clearly, in FNAF 4, the main crew, Freddy, Foxy, Chica, and Rick, were all pretty old and decrepit. And unfortunately, FNAF 4 was the last game we ever saw them in. But the cookbook does give us some more closure on how things went for our friends. After the passing of Bonnie, it left the animatronics feeling unfulfilled. As you can probably tell from FNAF 4, they weren't quite feeling themselves during that game. The passing of their friend was a wake-up call for them, and they decided to split up and do their own things. Our main bear, Freddy Fazbear, lived a full and good life, opening the fast food chain Freddy's and becoming wildly successful before tragically passing away in June of 2013. Foxy sailed away on a pirate ship and his current whereabouts are unknown. However, people have speculated that they might have seen him working as a bartender in Hawaii. Some have even taken pictures. What do you think? Is that Foxy? Chica retired into a cozy position of becoming Markiplier's dog, and Rick moved on to make a jazz album called Smooth Listening with Rick Fasafisika. His music got picked up and put into the movie Cars 2, which eventually became the most profitable film of all time. Rick is quietly living his life out in the mountains, living off the Cars 2 royalty money. However, this is not where our story ends, because we still have more FNAF games. Sister Location. You remember the baby Freddy's in FNAF 4? Well, this is them now. Feel old yet? Yes, in Sister Location, we follow the children of our beloved Freddy Fazhead. The names of his children are Girl, Ballerina, Freddy 2, and Foxy 2. The plot of this game is that they're friends and they love each other so much that they fuse together to make one big animatronic named Huggy Wuggy or some shit. I don't fucking know. Hey, when am I getting paid again? The next game on the list is some kind of simulator game or something. I accidentally spilled my vial of mysterious goop all over my notes, so I can't really make out the full name of the game, but I'll use my skills as a FNAF lore analyzer to figure out what the next game is. Alright, here we are in Goat Simulator. I don't really see what this has to do with FNAF, guys. I love FNAF, but this one just really didn't hit the mark for me. At least when Advanced Warfare removed the animatronics, the graphics were good, but they're not really that good here. I don't know what Scott was thinking, honestly, and it's a little frustrating because... the lore? The lore, Freddy possessed the goat, and now he's evil. Now for the final FNAF game. A lot of people say Ultimate Custom Night comes next, but clearly this is a fan game, guys. Like, God, how many animatronics are in this game? 200? Mr. Hippo? L Chip? Literal trash? No way these are real animatronics. These are clearly just someone's FNAF OCs, and you cannot convince me otherwise. The true final game in the FNAF series is Super Mario Sunshine. Woohoo! Yippee! Woohoo! Five Nights at Freddy's, motherfucker!